Hi, welcome to today's video and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be looking at this subject, a retirement plan for a couple who want to reside outside of Canada during retirement. So living abroad during their retirement and then coming back to Canada in their golden years. We're going to be showing you the no planning effect and how much tax they would have paid, and then the result of doing a financial plan and the tax they pay, including the full workup of deferring CPP and old age security, doing RRSP meltdowns, and showing you exactly how we design a plan so they have enough money to live outside of Canada. Now, if you want to also pay attention to this thumbnail, because in the future when I'm putting this thumbnail up, you will know that this particular video is going to be about a client example, telling you the story of how they're going to be retiring, what are the unique things that they want to do, because you've all been asking me, hey, could you do a video about this age with this amount of money living here and there and doing these activities? So when you see this thumbnail, the tax before and the tax after, know that this is going to be an example of a real client that you can actually pay attention to and say, does that sound like something that we might be doing? And just give you more information about your retirement. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into why you're here today. You are trying to retire and you're trying to put all these pieces together. Of course, you've got to know when to take CPP and old age security. You might have a private pension plan and you're wondering, should you commute the pension? Should you take the monthly benefit? If you're going to be retiring, you better have some retirement assets like RSPs and TFSAs, the non-registered account. You might have rental income, maybe even a corporate account if you're a business owner. And then along the way, you'd also like to save on taxes, and certainly you don't want to leave any money behind for Canada Revenue to tax you. So lots of moving parts, and that's why you get a financial plan done. But let's begin now with introducing you to Sandra and Bill. These names have changed, the values have changed, but it's a real life example. Well, Bill and Sandra, they want to retire abroad, live in different countries. In fact, it's not just going to Portugal and staying there all their retirement. They intend to actually live a few years in one country and move around a little bit. They'd like to retire at age 62, and they have a $2 million portfolio. Now, you're probably wondering, well, we don't have a $2 million portfolio, but they don't either before they retire. I'm going to show you how they get to 2 million as well, okay? So many of you have also asked, when you reside outside of Canada, will you still get your CPP and old age security? And the answer is yes, you still will get your Canada pension plan. If you're eligible to receive your Canada pension plan, you've paid into your Canada pension plan, then you're getting it. Now, if you've also lived in Canada for more than 20 years, after the age of 18, then you're also eligible for your old age security. Those amounts will be paid into a local bank if you want them to be paid in a local bank, and they'll automatically be converted to the local currency, so that's something you won't have to worry about. Now, for all those people who are watching this that are high income earners, or you have a lot of assets that are paying into you during your retirement and it's creating a lot of headache for you, there is some advantages of living outside of Canada. So for instance, if you are going to be retiring to any one of these countries, well, they have a tax treaty with Canada that will not make you have to pay any old age security threshold. You know the threshold, the clawback? When you exceed that threshold, you won't have to give back any of your money. Now, some of you are asking, well, what is the old age security clawback? So the clawback in your old age security begins when your income exceeds $90,000 and you start to have to give back 15% of your old age security for every dollar that you're over. Now, when your old age security exceeds $148,000, you're giving back all of your old age security. So if you are in that high income earning stage of your life as a retiree, and you're living abroad in one of those countries, that you're not going to have to give back any of your old age security. So there is a benefit for you to move outside of Canada during those years to not have to worry about old age security being clawed back. Okay, let's get into the actual software, and I'll show you how we designed the plan for this couple and what's going on. So one of the things I'll just draw to your attention on the left hand side is just understanding how to read the software to make it easy for you. So on this, you see the real expenses. This is the amount of money that this couple is going to spend after tax, just on the needs and wants. I want you to think of your retirement, even before retirement, you have needs and wants. The needs are the things that you're going to spend money on, like keeping the lights on, utilities, right? food, groceries, clothing, your safety, your health, buying gifts, clothes, Christmas items, whatever it is you're spending money on that is really about sort of the need that you have for your lifestyle need. That's it right there. It doesn't include things like debt payments and depositing money to investment accounts. It's really just about making sure that you live a fairly healthy, moderate lifestyle. Then on top of that, we're going to add in your wants. Now, for this couple, their wants are to live outside of Canada. So we've added 2 columns here. Well, actually it's 3, but 2 columns for travel. One is living abroad. So we've said, here's your need. This is what you're going to spend money on, your everyday living. And here is the amount that you're also going to spend while you're there living abroad. So it's quite a bit of money for this couple to enjoy their lifestyle. So if you pick 62 up, for instance, right there, you can see that their need is $45,000 just to basic living. And then we're going to add an additional $35,000. You can also see that later on, when they're 65, 66, 67, there's actually another travel column here. So think of it this way. This couple is going to go to, let's say, Portugal and live in Portugal, and then maybe in the wintertime they want to take a trip somewhere else. Maybe it's the Caribbean, or maybe they actually want to go on a ski trip and go someplace. So we're adding additional money that they'll be able to spend for all these other trips. So it's not like you go to live in another country and then you never go anywhere, because it would be similar to living in Canada and never taking a holiday. So we're also including additional money for them to travel while they're living abroad. So that takes care of the income and the expenses for you to understand how we develop that strategy. Now, the other part to the strategy is, well, what happens when you come back to Canada and you have to rent? You're not buying, you're using up your money in your retirement. So you see this extra column, it says return to Canada. So when they're 80 in this example, they plan on coming back to Canada and they're going to rent, and we have an inflation adjusted number that they're going to spend in Canada plus that need. So plenty of money for this couple. I doubt they'll ever spend that amount, but plenty of money for this couple. Now, the question is, why would you want to come back to Canada? I get this all the time. People ask me, should we come back? What do people normally do? And the answer to that question is, usually it's because you want the healthcare system in Canada. That might be one of the reasons. You want to live close to a hospital or close to like easy medical assistance. But largely the reason why people come back to Canada is because all their family, or most of their family, is back in Canada. Their parents may have been buried in Canada. They have children and grandchildren that are in Canada. So they want to be near their children and grandchildren in their golden years and spend that time, and then likely be buried in Canada, right? So largely the reason why they come back to Canada is it's really their final needs that they're wanting to take care of. Okay, so that takes care of the income and the expenses that they're going to be having while they're living abroad. Let's share with you how we get to how do they get enough money to do this. Okay, so in this example, there's a few things going on, and I'm going to take it step by step. Okay, look on the left-hand side of the page. You see here the columns for government benefits, CPP and old age security. And what you'll notice right away is we're actually deferring taking CPP until age 70. And why are we doing that? Because we want to be able to do an RRSP meltdown. They have enough money in an RRSP, but they also have money in a non-registered portfolio. How did we get that money in a non-registered portfolio? Is when they sold their house, you can see here on this slide, in year 62. So the year in which they retired, on the right-hand side, you see that sell. They actually sell their house because they're not going to live in Canada, and they net just over $1 million in non-registered money now, and that gets deposited, fill up their tax-free savings accounts, both of them, and then the rest goes into a non-registered account, and they'll use that in retirement. So you can see the total amount of money available to them in their retirement at age 62 is just over $2 million. So that's how we get to that part. So back to the melting down part of their RRSP. So why are we deferring CPP and old age securities? Because we want to create this window where they had a zero tax rate. So if you see the effective tax rates, it was actually zero at that time. So, well, next we'll say pretty close to zero at that time. And so when we do an RRSP meltdown, we can add that income. It doesn't really increase their tax base all that much, people are pretty happy paying 5 or 8% of taxes. So by deferring CPP and old age security gives us a window from age 62 all the way down to age 69, where we're doing RRSP meltdowns, and we're even taking more money out of their RIF as they're older. Let's get rid of all that RRSP money, all that RIF money before they pass, so they're not leaving any of it behind. We do that for both spouses. Make sure that money, it's something that we can't always do depending on how large you've grown your RRSP or your RIF. But in this particular case, we can actually melt it down. And so when we do that, so when we defer CPP and old age security, we do an RRSP meltdown and a little bit of the RIF meltdown as well. What is the end result is, well, of course, they had enough money to retire and live their dreams of retirement in another country or several countries. That by itself is just a dream come true for many people when they realize their entire working years of building up to that point and saying, we'd love to have this kind of life. When that part of your financial plan is actually achieved, that is a massive achievement. So that part, we've achieved that for them. And then the next part is, how do we do that in the most tax efficient way and spend less money? So let's look at the result. With no planning, this couple was going to spend $560. I always say they were going to spend because I think of tax as an expense. They were going to spend $516,000 in cumulative taxes year over year. So that's from their working years to 2024 all the way out to age 90. The total tax they were going to spend is $516,000, and we got that down to $340,000. So the couple gets to retire and live their dreams abroad, and they pay less tax doing it by having a financial plan done for them. So that's what it means to have a financial plan, working with an advisor that can do this level of planning. So it's not just about the accumulation phase, it's actually about the withdrawal stage. That's probably more important than the accumulation stage. Now remember, you have to get a financial plan in order to figure this out. You could, you get some calculators out there and get an Excel spreadsheet and so on, but you might as well just get an advisor that knows how to do this kind of planning and take that anxiety and all that headache away from you. And when you do that, all your dreams are being realized on paper, and you say all you have to do now is make sure that you do all of the investment management part of the portfolio properly, and then don't spend where you're not supposed to spend, so that you'll have that money available in your retirement. Well, that is the end of today's video. I thank you for joining me on this video. I hope that is what you wanted to see. I know you all wanted examples, different examples of how people retire and everything that goes into how we help them. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks and be well.